Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. If you are in our area at any time, we invite you to come and worship with us. Service begins at 10 a.m. There's parking on Hillcrest. We are the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. And if you're not in our area, wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe, we invite you to tune in to the Sunday sermon at 10:45 a.m. We are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, we are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. If you go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio, the drop box will appear, click on the New Life link, and 10:45 a.m. the Sunday sermon will go live. And we also invite you, of course, to be with us every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you live in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you that have used the link that is on YouTube and Facebook, and those of you that have used the QR code, we thank you for your continued support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, I want to remind you that you can stay connected with us now 24 hours a day by tuning in to our 24-hour internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio. You can tune in at WKAPfaith.com, and you will listen to music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at WKAPfaith.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you and your husband have been at odds much of the time lately, and it has become quite annoying, and you say that you're not certain how much more you want to deal with this. Okay, so let me respond by saying this first. Marriage is an ever-evolving event. And what I mean by that is you can't just wake up on any given day and just decide you don't want to be married anymore. Could you? You probably could, but that won't enhance the quality of your life. Marriage is not going to be perfect every single day. There are going to be days when you're going to wake up and not like your spouse very much, and there's going to be some days where he's going to wake up and he might not care for you very much, or at least you might not like each other's attitude for the day. We hope that everyone gets to the point in their spiritual walk and in your walk of faith where you wake up the fact that you wake up in the morning, it means that it's going to be a great day. It means that you're going to have the right attitude. It means that you refuse to allow anything to disrupt your psyche. That is a choice. And so when you say that you aren't certain, or you're not certain how much more of this you want to do or deal with, what I'm going to say to you is something that will resonate, because what you're dealing with is what we commonly know as summer madness. People during the summertime, spring, summer, and part of the fall, people have the tendency to go through a lot of emotional changes and decide, I think I'd rather be by myself. Well, the truth of the matter is, come winter, you won't want to be by yourself. So just think about it in these terms. You got married for a reason. And just because you've been at odds, what you really have to focus on is, why are you at odds? What are you both dealing with that has caused you to be at odds? The Bible says, how can two walk together unless they agree? So you just have to find a place where you can walk in agreement. You have to, whatever the topic might be, you have to examine the topic. You have to make some decisions about how important the topic is. That is it important enough to allow it to disrupt the quality of your life, disrupt your marriage? Because generally speaking, and there are exceptions to every rule, and let me say this, generally speaking, there is not any topic that is so dramatic, so tragic, that you can't have a conversation about it and find a point of agreement. The point of agreement doesn't mean either one of you have to be right. It just means that you can agree that there's a better way to resolve the topic. And the reality is that sometimes we just want to be right. We say I want to be heard. Well, that's really not the truth. The truth is, if you go on and on continuously, it means you want to be right. And you want the other person to agree that you're right. And the reality is that marriage doesn't work that way. Because two different people come into a marriage with two different perspectives on life. Because from the time we're children, we're being developed in a culture and environment that is going to shape our perspective. You have to say to yourself, as an adult, I am going to change the perspective of my childhood culture, my childhood environment, and I'm going to look at life through the eyes of God. Let me use that. Through the eyes of God. And what does that look like? It means that first and foremost, we walk by faith and not by sight. So we don't focus on the circumstances, because we know that God is in control and that God is resolving everything in our lives that does not lead to a quality of life. We know that because the scripture tells us that. So, but we have to read the scripture to know that. So let me say this to you. You made a point that you're at odds much of the time. Turn that around. And the way you turn that around is just by saying, I'm not going to participate in an argument that doesn't need to take place. Because here's the reality. Do we really need to argue our point? We're not litigators. If you're an attorney, then you litigate. But at home, we're not at home to litigate our perspective or our opinion. When we're at home, we're working to build a better quality of life. So that means that it starts, first of all, with our attitude, and then our behavior, then our commitment, and then our diligent effort of excellence. We want our home life to be better than our outside life, our out of the home life. In other words, we've got to go out and deal with people every single day in some form. It doesn't matter if it's the cashier or the point of sale at your local pharmacy. You've got to deal with other people throughout the day. You have to decide how you're going to deal with them. And it can't be based on anger. It has to be based on the right attitude. I'll give a real simple example. So I was at the gym this morning, and my wife and I have had this conversation previously about how you go in the gym and there are people in the gym who are there to work out, but they're also there to use their phone. And what I mean by that is they take their phone in the gym with them, and when they're working out on a particular bench or particular piece of equipment, they will stop and use their telephone like they're the only person interested in using that equipment. Here's the problem with that. They're slowing down the process of other people working out. Now you can either decide, I'm going to get into an argument with that person, or I'm going to politely ask them, will they be on the machine much longer, which will get their attention, because sometimes they're just oblivious. They don't even realize what they're doing. They just do. Or you can decide, I'm going to go and use another piece of equipment because I don't really want to have a conversation with you when you have no concern for others, because you might say something that's going to then cause me to react. And it's not worth it. So if you know yourself, you might say, I'm just going to use another piece of equipment and I'll come back when they're off. And if you come back and they're not off and it's your day to use that equipment, then you have a right to say, are you going to be using this particular equipment much longer? And then if they say, well, I'm still using the equipment, then you can say, and I know I'm taking you down a lane here, but then you can say, listen, I've walked away, used other equipment. This equipment is something that it's my day to use it, so I would appreciate it if you'd let me know the moment you are done. There's always a way to handle a situation. And it doesn't require us to argue. It doesn't require us to become combative. It's all about going from attitude to behavior, managing our behavior. So when you are having a discussion with your husband, you don't have to be at odds. You can just maybe find a more appropriate time to have that discussion, or make certain that you enter into the discussion with the right attitude, and don't allow summer madness to become part of your thought process that if I get out of this marriage, I can have a good time. Because what is really a good time? There's nothing out in the world that is going to bring you joy, more joy than having a better quality of life at home. It's just not going to happen. See, it's different if, the conflict was leading to violence. It's not leading to violence. It's just leading to you being at odds. You're just annoyed right now. Well, a week from now, you might not be annoyed. A month from now, it will look different, because marriage is constantly an evolution. It is, your marriage today doesn't look like it did 5 years ago. It doesn't look like the same as it did 10 years ago. It doesn't look the same because both of you have brought your life experiences to the table, and over time you've now created new life experiences, and you should have developed a different perspective and a clear understanding of the way you want to live your lives. So it's ever evolving. Allow it to evolve, but continue to grow together. You can't stop growing and developing in a marriage. You want to grow, you want it to flourish. You want to see the beauty in your marriage and allow it to flourish. I was talking about Summer Madness. I will say to you, I was watching a commercial, and one of the things the commercial said was, it was a spouse talking to another spouse and said, "Would you marry me all over again today?" That's why people renew their vows, because what they're essentially saying is, "I would marry you again." And it's interesting because of the way they responded to one another. And generally, most often the husband will say he would marry again. Often the wives, not quite sure. But the reality is, if we're all working to build a better quality of life, there shouldn't be a doubt about that. There's no reason to, trust me when I tell you, the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. When you get over on the other side, you're going to find out that over there is AstroTurf. And injuries come with AstroTurf. Grass is a little more forgiving. Well, a lot more forgiving. Just know that if you live for peace in your marriage, you'll find peace in your marriage. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue, where you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have more money now than you have ever had before. However, you are afraid of what might happen now that you have it, and you want to know, what should you do? First of all, you should lift your hands and say, "To God be the glory," because He's blessed you with more than you've ever had before. Now, you also have to understand that fear is false evidence appearing real. So you're afraid of what might happen now that you have it. You want to know what you should do about it, and I'm going to say this to you. If you don't know what you should do with it, then do nothing. Save it, and eventually start to invest it. Because of the amount, you need to speak with a financial advisor. But that doesn't mean you have to turn over control of it to them. It just means that you may want to have a conversation with them so that you can get some direction. But I'm not your financial advisor, but the one thing I can tell you is save it, do nothing, save it, and begin to invest it. You want to make certain that you use the money to generate more money. You don't want to use the money and abuse the money. You want to make certain that you have the opportunity to grow that asset, that resource that you have right now, which is capital, it's money. You want to use it to invest and generate more money. So let me say this to you. There's a couple of opportunities that you have here. And first and foremost, the easiest thing to do is begin to invest more into the stock market. Now, I understand you have a 401k, but you can begin to invest in the stock market. You've all heard me say the easiest way to begin investing in the stock market is to invest in products or services that you use on a consistent basis. Buy shares in publicly traded companies where you use the products, you use the services or purchase the products. That's the easiest method. Of course, index funds, You can spread the capital across index funds. You can do that. But if you're going to invest in publicly traded companies, invest in companies that you use their products or services. So I'll give you a simple example. We have Comcast in our home. We have Comcast at our church. My wife and I are Comcast shareholders. And that's one of the easiest ways to assure that your shareholder value is going to increase slightly over time. It's going to increase substantially. But if you use the service or purchase the products, if you shop at Target, purchase shares in Target. It's a publicly traded company. If you shop at Nordstrom's, purchase shares in Nordstrom's, it's a publicly traded company. If you shop at Walmart, purchase shares in Walmart, it's a publicly traded company. If you buy Nike products or Under Armour products, you should invest in those publicly traded companies because your shareholder value, if you're purchasing from them, so are other people in the general public. And that will allow your shareholder value to continue growing. The stock market is the easiest way to invest now. The easiest method. And the reason I'm saying easy is because you can open a trading account now and you can purchase shares in publicly traded companies. Once upon a time, you needed a stockbroker to do that. You don't need that anymore. There are ways for you to purchase shares, invest in publicly traded companies. You first save and begin to invest. You don't have to do it all at once. Do it over time. And it will eventually grow your portfolio. The second thing is real estate. So if you're interested in purchasing a new home, you can sell your home before the interest rates get out of hand. You can sell your home and purchase a new home. That will allow you to build wealth also, because in a poor economy, real estate's going to appreciate in value approximately 5%. In a normal economy, it's going to appreciate approximately 7.5% to 8%. In a good economy, it will appreciate as much as 10%. So you want to make certain that you have the opportunity to build wealth. Those are two of the methods to do that. And then the third, of course, being entrepreneurship. If you decide you want to go into business, you now have the capital to do that. Save your capital, begin to write your business plan, and begin to develop a new business. There are ways for you to build wealth now that you have a substantial amount of capital to work with. That is going to give you the tools to move forward. What you don't want to do is begin wasting the resource on depreciating assets, and I'm not talking about if you need to buy a new car, you buy a new car. We all need transportation, okay? I'm talking about just purchasing things to be purchasing things that are not going to enhance the quality of your life or not appreciate in value. That has to be your focus at this point, because you have more money now than you've ever had before. And as I said, the first thing you should do is say to God be the glory, because you have the opportunity now to begin to build wealth. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Under Armour Golf. If you are a golfer such as myself, go to underarmour.com. In the search bar, type in the word golf. You will see everything that Under Armour has to offer for you to be able to enjoy your golf outing or your golf experience. And if you're just interested in enhancing your health and wellness, go to underarmour.com. They have everything you could possibly need to enhance your health and wellness. All the equipment, all the supplies, all the gear that you could possibly need to enhance your health and wellness. Under Armour Golf is one of the sponsors of our annual golf tournament, and we thank them for being a sponsor of 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are finally starting to see some results of your work the last few years. You want to know, how do you continue on this result-oriented path and perhaps expedite the results? So there's two things here. You want to know, how do you stay on this path of getting good results? And the answer to that is, first and foremost, keep working. Secondly, wisdom and understanding. So you really have to get wisdom and understanding of exactly what God has assigned for you to do, the calling that He's placed on your life with regards to your career. You can only do that by reading and researching. You've got to be able to research and analyze information regarding your professional career and apply that information to what you're doing on a daily basis. Should you try to expedite the results, wisdom and understanding of what you're doing completely will expedite some of the process. But one thing we have to remember about careers and profession is that it requires us, if we're going to be great at what we do, it requires us to put in 10,000 hours to do it. And what that means is simply continuing to work the process, to keep doing what you've been doing every day. If you're seeing results from the last few years, that has required you to put in work, good work, not just, look, we have to work effectively and efficiently. Society has tried to convince us, and this is why so many people have come up short, is that you don't have to work hard, you only have to work smart. Well, you have to work hard and smart. You have to work effectively and efficiently to maximize our success. You might experience some moments of success, but to maximize our success, we have to work effectively and efficiently. So in doing that, we have to be diligent, we have to be consistent, we have to work hard and smart over a period of time, and then we see the results. And for every career and profession, there are outliers, there are exceptions to the rule where things might happen quickly, but at the end of the day, it's all about work. At the end of the day, it's all about putting in the work and watching God manifest what He desires to manifest in all of our lives. So I will encourage you by saying, read everything that you can read about your profession, about your career, about your interest in building wealth for your life, because that's why we work, that's why we have a profession. And then research how you can improve, what you can do better, and then continue to work. Just be consistent. Show up every day, prepared to give 100% of the time. If you do that, that will expedite some of the results, but you'll continue to get good results. You'll stay on the result-oriented path and achieve the results that you desire to achieve. Today's Daily Divine Direction Broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep His face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. I want to invite you to again to come and worship with us at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. If you're in our area, service begins at 10 a.m. There's parking on Hillcrest. We're the brown brick building located right on the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. I promise you, according to the Word of God, that if you come and worship with us, if you're in our area, you will begin to experience a better quality of life. If you're not in our area, you can tune in at 10:45 a.m. when we go live on Facebook, YouTube, and on RadioFreeNetwork.com. If you go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on the New Life link, the Dropbox will appear. Click on radio, the Dropbox will appear. Click on the New Life link. The broadcast will go live at 10:45 for the Sunday sermon, and every broadcast is available to you. They are archived for 365 days, and we want you to stay connected